What's going on, Yu-Gi-Oh fans? PlotArmorCards in the house, and today I'm going to be coming to you with my Exodia FTK deck post Darkwing Blast. Now, if you guys remember my first ever video that I ever posted to my channel, it was my Exodia deck profile. And now I want to go ahead and update it a little bit. Originally, I was playing it a little bit slower. I was playing a lot of Mystic Mine, and I was just kind of playing the wait game. But this time, I kind of wanted to try this and see if I can get this done in one turn. So this is my deck, and let's just get into it. So, of course, we're going to be starting with each of the 5 pieces of Exodia. That's self-explanatory. Next, this is the one that I kept from the original profile, 3 copies of Royal Magical Library. Each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card. When that spell resolves, max 3, you can remove 3 spell counters from this card to draw 1 card. This is not once per turn. This is very good effect for this deck, and it's an effect you have to take advantage of if you want to win. Next, I'm playing the 1 copy of Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, and that's just because I am playing the 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents, and it just helps thin out my deck to have a 4th card. You could probably switch this out for one of the spell cards if you really wanted to, just to give this thing an extra counter. But I am playing Foolish Burial Good, so I just kind of, or Foolish Burial, sorry, I'm playing both well, and it kind of gives me an extra target, you know, so. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, in terms of that, because sometimes you'll end up drawing this, so Foolish Burial will be useless. So I feel like if you want to switch it out for one of the spell cards, that's up to you, right? Next, I'm playing Anna. I don't know how to pronounce this thing, dude, but its Pendulum Effect is if you have no cards in your extra deck except this card, you can destroy this card, draw 1 card, and you can only use this effect once per turn. That's really good, insane draw power. Plus, if you don't have a body on the field and you want to really take advantage of the bamboo swords, it does happen in some situations, you can use this effect to special summon it from the extra deck, and then you can, equip it. That's assuming you're going first, because you can equip it to your opponent's monsters as well. Then, moving forward to the spell cards, the mentioned bamboo sword cards. So golden bamboo sword, if you control a bamboo sword equip spell, you can draw 2 cards. Insane. This card, Cursed Bamboo Sword, the equipped monster gains 0 attack. You can target one other bamboo sword card you control, return to the hand. If you do, the equipped monster can attack your opponent directly this turn. I really like this card. I didn't mention its second effect, but when it's sent to the grave, you can add a bamboo sword card from your deck to your hand. That's why Foolish Burial Goods is here. Dump this in the grave, add either this or this, depending on what's needed, right? Usually will be this one, but and then additionally lets me add a spell card back to my hand, which then I can play immediately right after that, which will give this thing another counter, which in a lot of situations will be just enough to win me duels, or will be just enough to draw another card for which I can pop up more combos. So much needed. Next is the brand new original bamboo sword. Now, the second I laid eyes on this, I was like, yep, I'm gonna have to take a look at this. The equipped monster gains 0 attack. When the equipped monster inflicts battle damage by a direct attack, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Nice. You can send this equipped card to the graveyard. Equip 1 bamboo sword equipped spell from your deck to 1 face-up monster on the field. This card is insane. Whoop, sorry, had to yawn there for a second. This card is insane because it helps you search for this, and it helps thin out your deck. Originally, I was playing just the Broken Bamboo Sword, which is just an equipped card, right? So I would definitely say this is a much-needed upgrade because it helps dig through your deck, helps thin everything out, and I would say it helps the FTK pop off more consistently. Next are some additional draw cards I like to use. 3 copies of Magical Mallet. This is very good in this deck. Not only does it shuffle all your cards, it additionally gives counters to this, so not only were you getting shuffles off in case you have like something bad in your hand that you don't want to see at the moment, then it will help you draw some additional spell cards, plus this thing will give you more draws. So really good. In the same field as that, reload does work really well. The only problem with that is you don't get to choose which cards, so honestly it doesn't really matter most of the time, just because you can make do with this. But that's just something to think about, but I would definitely recommend you run reload. Next, I played 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents. So it just lets you add 1 Toon card from your deck to your hand. I'll use 1 to search the others, use this to search this, and then use this to search that. And just by using this, I have thinned my deck out by 4, and I have use Royal Magical's Library's effect in order to draw an extra card. So Really good. And then I have 3 copies of Period Map. At the start of your main phase 1, add 1 monster with 0 attack from your deck to your hand, but half your life points. After adding it to your hand until the end of the next turn after this card is activated, you cannot activate if the added monster's effects or the effects of cards with its name until you normal summon a monster or card with that name. So this card is really good because we want to see this card as preferably in our opening hand, but as close to our opening hand as possible, right? So this will only work in the beginning of your main phase 1. So and it is once per turn, but I think it's just so useful. I can't not run it at 3 just because it will really win me games just by being able to search Royal Magical Library. So I think it is much necessary. And then we have and then the other 2 can be dead weight, so that's why I do have Gold Moon Coin in order to get rid of this. And then some stuff like if this ends up in your hand, you don't really want to see it, right? So there are some selections there that you can use for Gold Moon Coin. And then moving on to the one of. So Pod Duality, excavate the top 3 of your hand, add 1 to your hand, and then after that shuffle the rest back in the deck. You can only use 1 this turn, so, and then it completely locks you out of special summoning, so something to think about. 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, I would run 3, but it's limited, so if you're in Master Duel, probably want to run 3, right? Because I think it's at 3 in Master Duel. 1 Day of Peace. I really like this card because you both draw 1 card and neither player takes battle damage. So not only does that shield you in case your duel ends up lasting longer than that, it does have a drawback. Is I've had some duels where like my opponent will literally draw into Ash Blossom from this card. So something to think about. But next, I'd like to play 1 copy of Double Summon. This card is insane. Holy crap. I think I saw this. I forget what YouTuber video I saw it, and they were running Double Summon in Exodia deck, and I was like, yo, that changes everything. Because if you can draw through all your stuff and you have 2 copies of Royal Magical Library, you can draw 2 cards. That's insane. Next, you get Into the Void. I didn't even realize this was limited because I've been testing this deck mostly in Master Duel. So if you have 3 more cards in the hand, you can draw 1 card, and if you do during the end phase, discard your entire hand. Really good, just additional draw power. But if you do use this, just keep in mind that you have to win right then and there, because if you have Exodia piece in your hand, then you kind of lose, right? There are cards like, I think it's Dark Factory of Mass Production. I think that's what it's called. But it basically just recycles cards that are in the grave back to your hand. So if you feel like this might be a little bit too much of a gamble, that could be a card that you wish to add in there. That's something that we can talk about in the comments. Or if you feel like it's good, go ahead and do that. Foolish Burial Goods, like I said before, much needed to dump something like Cursed Bamboo Sword into the grave. Or if I've gone through all of these already, or they're in my hand or whatever, then I can dump like additional stuff that I don't need. Like for example, my other copies of Period Map, I don't really care. Those can be dumped, right? I don't want to see them. They're just going to slow me down. 1 copy of Foolish Burial. I was just running out of spell cards to use, honestly, because I forgot Chicken Game was banned in real life. So Chicken Game is banned. So Foolish Burial just helps me get rid of. So I have 3 of these just so I can get to them as quickly as possible, but realistically, you're not going to be able to summon more than 2, right? So you'll have 2. A third one, so this one will be dead in your hand, and this one technically will be dead as well, right? So it's very easy to dump 1 of these with that, and it just thins out your deck. So really does help. Plus, it gives a counter to your, like all of these do, to your Royal Magical Library. A Card of Fate. Each player chooses a card from the deck. Then each player combines 4 additional random cards chosen from the deck by their opponent, and then randomly selects 1 of those 5 cards. You would think this is a great card, but it does help your opponent also draw. It really does help because the amount of times I've clutch drawn into a Golden Bamboo Sword and just used that to turn the event. I was like, this is the last card. If I don't draw this, then I pretty much lose. And then draw a Golden, and then from there just go on to win. It's insane. But the amount of times I've seen opponents draw like Ash Blossoms and stuff, just something to think about. It is a twin double-edged sword. Gold Moon Coin, like I said earlier, is just to get rid of those like dead cards. Give them to your opponent and then draw a card is really good. And then lastly, I got 1 copy of Contract with Dawn 1000. When this card is activated, both players lose 1,000. If they do, they both draw a card. And then all cards that are drawn must remain revealed. I don't know why I couldn't say that. While a player's spell card is in their hand, reveal this effect. That player cannot normal summon set monsters. So, and you can only activate once per turn. You got to be a little bit careful with this one, because if you're trying to get 2 of these out at the same time, and this has potential to interfere with your tomfoolery there. The only thing is it's not that bad at like because you can pretty easily get around it, you know. So I would definitely say that this card is worth looking into, worth using for draw power. And then for the side deck, I had just a couple cards that I feel like, hey, these would be pretty decent in terms of combos and whatnot. Maybe if you are interested in going that route, here are some things that are interested. It's not necessarily like a side deck for me. Dark World Dealings is also good. Why am I forgetting what that card is called? I use it in my Skull Servant deck. It's like a brain fart. But destroy 2 cards, draw 2 cards. That card's good. I think it was card destruction. Yeah, card destruction, and then there's hand destruction. So if you want to go with the risk of those, I feel like those destroying 2 and drawing 2 is too much. Or in the case of the other one, discarding your entire hand and drawing another entire hand might be a little too much, right? Mystic Mine. This card is really, really good. Going second, I would say, because if your opponent, obviously they more than likely are going to have a bunch of monsters, right? This will just put an end to all of the monster effects that could possibly screw you over. And so whenever I do go second, I do try to side this in. This I would say is really in my side deck for a thing. Plus, if you're going first, if you want to play like the slower way, more methodical, then you can with Mystic Mine, because most of the time your opponent is not going to be able to get around it as easy. Trade in. Now this is a card I was thinking about because of the fact that I've seen a lot of people use the Toon Table of Contents. They use the White Stone of Ancients as well, and then they'll use Blue Eyes Toon Dragon or Blue Eyes White Dragon, the regular one as well. And in that case, if you wish to run that engine, Trade-In is a great card that's actually worth looking into. I've also seen some people use Destiny Heroes combined with Destiny Draw. So if that's the route you guys want to go, of course that's always there. And of course the infamous Crooked Cook. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. These are all strategies I feel like are pretty solid, and honestly I would say I wouldn't be able to pick one over the other. And this is just, I would say, up to your preference, which way you want to go about it and whatnot. But if you are running Crooked Cook, you'd have an extra deck, right, most of the time. So maybe this may not be the best card right here to use. However, I would say overall this is a pretty solid deck. Definitely not like you're not going to be able to take it to a tournament and beat like tier elements and stuff. But if you're playing for fun with your homies, with your friends, in my case with my brother, definitely a really fun deck to play. It really gets some frustration points. You know, you piss a lot of people off. But that's funny to me, especially when I'm pissing off my brother. So that's just how it is. But anyways, guys, this is PlotArmorCards signing out for the day. If you like what you see, don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, you can let me know for any suggestions for improvements for this deck that you have, or if you were like, hey, maybe I would run it at this ratio, or maybe I would just tweak this a little bit. Of course, I'd love to hear about that in the comments down below. And we will see you in the next video.